to Love and Law 13, Christmas edition. This is your first Christmas. Thank you for allowing us into your home to spread a little bit of the Christmas cheer. And it's a pleasure that we've made it this far, 13 episodes. So it's something to be thankful for the Christmas season.
It is. And in the spirit of Christmas, we're going to be doing our fourth episode in a four-part series, going from surviving to managing to thriving and sharing. So, in the spirit of Christmas, let's talk about sharing some Christmas traditions and things you like. What is your favorite Christmas tradition?
Sleeping in. I love it that I don't have to go to work that day. Now, sleeping in, that is a great tradition.
Scrooge.
And being the Christmas cookie judge. I don't really like to judge the cookies and eat them too.
So, we do either gingerbread house competitions. We do a lot of competitions. So, we'll do the Christmas cookie, sugar cookie contest where we'll just get Christmas dough. The kids come over and we use the cookie cutters sometimes, but usually they just mold the cookies into whatever they're gonna make, and we make the cookies, decorate them, sprinkles, frosting, huge mess, and he'll be the judge. But sometimes you make cookies too. But we'll do the. I think 1 or 2 years we put it on Facebook to do the competition and judge who's the winner of the uniqueness, complexity, creative, blah blah blah. But that's a fun thing that we do every year. What's your favorite Christmas song?
Jingle bells, Batman smells, Robin laid an egg.
Okay, I'm gonna go for Temptations. The Temptations Silent Night. We had friends over 2 or 3 days ago, and we did a whole karaoke vibe to it. And it was like 1 or 2. Me and Falandra started singing it, and before you know it, Stephanie and everybody, like it's literally it was like seven, 8 people. Tori was singing, like everybody, Kiana, Sharad. It was a vibe. So sit with us as we talk about some of the things that we do to give back and sharing. Because again, as important as it is to learn how to go from survival to managing to thriving, it's equally important to us that we share. It's actually the fourth episode to a four-part series where we started talking about how we came from survival mode into managing, how to manage your life and just get things stable. And from there, transitioning into thriving. And then the last, but definitely not the least, is sharing. And it is important to us to share. It's what we try to teach our children and just support each other in different ways that we share and give back. One of the ways that is important to me, and I think we've talked about it, I'm not sure if you guys are new to the podcast and haven't started our social media. I talk very often and open about my relationship or lack thereof with my biological father. And it wasn't a situation where my mom prevented him from having access to me. So it doesn't connect in that way. But because he was absent, it's always been near and dear to me to assist fathers in gaining access to their children because just the absence of a father really impacted my life in a lot of ways. So for me, one of the things that we do is we do different workshops on legitimation to help fathers gain access to their children in Georgia.
So I went through the legitimation process as well. It would have been nice to have a workshop to go to or have somebody explain it, like what we have tried to incorporate in our give back.
If when you were going through that, I was a prosecutor, so I didn't know anything about legitimation and family law then. But it would have been nice. Like I don't even think it crossed our mind to like look on YouTube and see if there was some workshops or any information to tell us how to do it. Now, I am from Florida, and in Florida, you sign the birth certificate and your child is legitimized. And so it was very new to me. And you had signed your daughter's birth
But I was
certificate.
in Indiana.
I
And
know.
when we got here, I was told it was a totally different process, which to my surprise, oh, you can't, the visitation and everything else that came along with it, but that initiating that first step. And again, I didn't know of any workshop or fathers, men's help groups, or know anywhere else to turn but to an attorney. And I need help with you handling my case.
So in Georgia, if you're not married to the mother, and you know what's so crazy? I get a lot of pushback as if I wrote the law, and the men get mad at me, and that's a lie, and the government, and you're an agent, and all kind of craziness because I'm telling you what the law is in Georgia. It's not my opinion. It is what it is in Georgia. The only way for you to gain legal access to your child in Georgia is to be married to the mother, which gives you 50-50 custody, or you have to go through the courts to legitimize your child and ask for joint custody. Now, I understand that that upsets a lot of men. I understand that they should not have a disadvantage when it comes to access to their children simply because the mother gave birth. But when I'm telling you this is what you need to know, it is in an effort to share and give back so that you know what you need to know to gain access to your children. And so don't shoot the messenger. I didn't write the law. I'm just telling you what you need to know, whether you want to hear it or not. If you did not marry the mother of the child, you're going to have to go through court to gain access to your child. And part of you doing that, they're going to put you on child support and give you a parenting plan and give you joint custody probably. And it's just a lot of moving parts to that. But as you stated before, the process can be expensive to some people depending on what your income is. And we don't believe that the income should be a barrier to fathers having access to their children.
On the side note, I think some of the fathers argue with you. They're frustrated. But I think sometimes when I do the conversations with them, I don't get the same amount of pushback. Only, I guess, maybe because I can appeal to them being a man a little bit more. But it's a situation that I think a lot of people, or the men in particular, you're getting this information, what you do with it, not to shoot the messenger, but to try to calm down and just listen for a minute. Because I think the emotions are so high, and because it's a woman giving it to you, opposed to a man, and I don't know why that does that. But in some of the give back, we try to do these things and explain it to our fathers in a neutral place, and hopefully they're in a place to receive it.
Yeah, but it's crazy the amount of pushback a lot of men. Why are you listening to this woman? Why are you listening to this one? Okay, you're listening to this woman because I'm an attorney who's been doing this for 20 years. This is why you're listening to this woman, because I'm not telling you my opinion. I'm telling you what the law is in Georgia, and it's different in different states. So whether I was a woman, a man, a unicorn, or an apple, the law in Georgia is what it is. And so whether you like it or not like it, I'm telling you what you need to hear. Clearly, it's not what you want to hear, but this is what you have to go through to get access to your children. And despite some of the pushback, my goal is to help you do that. We have another workshop coming up soon. I think we're going to do it sometime in March because everybody can't afford an attorney. So instead of spending $10,000, $15,000 to go through the process of legitimating your children, we actually have a workshop where fathers come in and we help you do the documents, file the documents, get mom served so that you can gain access to your children. And it is not even a fraction of the cost, maybe a tenth of the cost. I think we do it for like $1,000 or maybe $1,500. Our average case value for legitimation generally runs between $12,000 and $15,000, and so it is one of the things that we do in an effort to try to help make parenthood and custody of your children accessible for some people who may not otherwise be able to afford an attorney. But I understand the frustration that some men go through. And I get, listen, when I tell you the handouts that I've received come from both sides, because I have a lot of women who feel like I only represent men. And then there's a lot of men who feel like I only give support to the women. Like everybody's mad.
We represent the people that come and want our help. But at the end of the day, and even though she gave you that number of it's between this amount and that amount, if you guys are at such odds, that's going to change things if you want to fight tooth and nail. But nonetheless, we try to give back because I, at one point in time, was in this situation, and it's a lot in finances and not knowing what's going on and having somebody there to explain the process to you. That was just rough in itself, just going through it and not understanding. So hopefully, in an effort to have, because there's mothers that call too, but mothers and fathers not feel like they have no control or don't understand or nobody's taking the time to explain it to them. That's why we try to give back. So hopefully, when you go through this process, the legitimation that we're discussing, you don't feel so lost and shuffled and like somebody's pushing you along and making you do something that you don't even understand, let alone I'm fighting with you tooth and nail here and there, but nobody's telling me what I'm doing. You're just saying, sign this, take that, do this, and you don't know where it's coming from. So it hopefully um, it's helpful.
Another way that's really important to us to give back is truly in the way of giving back not just our time in education with like legitimation workshops and that type of thing, but when our children were a lot younger, and we were saying we were going to start this up again with our youngest son now, we used to do the Christmas stockings. And so Christmas is coming up, and we would make stockings for the homeless and fill these stockings with um,
Toiletries, toothpaste, deodorant,
first
lotion,
aid kits,
chapstick,
Christmas candy,
beef
socks.
jerky,
And we would
hand warmers.
yeah, and we would make these stockings. I think the most that we've done one time was maybe 200 or 250 stockings. And this was our money. We had some very good friends that would donate sometimes. They may give like $20 to $50 or whatever. And we would take the girls, take the kids, and go shopping and let them help buy all the things to make these stockings. And we would make a full size stocking, staple them together, and then get up on Christmas Day and drive downtown Atlanta and hand them out to homeless people. And that was very interesting, but the kids liked it a lot. Um, I think even in the smallest ways, when you give back to people, it's the little things. Whether you're in line for coffee and you buy the person coffee next to
This
you.
one right here. I have gotten better because she'll give back at any time. She will be in the line, and sometimes I've had it happen not with her, but you'll go to the Chick-fil-A or you'll go to, a fast food restaurant and somebody say the person in front of you paid for the meal, and then it kind of does the trickle down and the next person, and she'll start that's the one that starts that some of the time. Or we'll be in line at the grocery store and it might be a mom and a kid that's saying, hey, I want this, and the mom's like, no, we can't get this, and she'll walk up, don't worry about it, I got it. I'm not as giving as her, but I'm working on it, and it's one of those things that have rubbed off over the years. That
I
no,
think it's
she
pretty cool when our kids do it though. Like they'll be in the grocery store and you'll see someone that's, checking out and they're putting items back and they'll pay for it. And as adults, to have them come back and say, you know what, that they have that giving heart because that's how they were raised. But I think it's important. It's really important for me, like on an emotional level, just because I needed so much from other people. Like I was at the mercy of other people's helping and giving back so much growing up, and even as a young mother. And so it is not just, I'll pay for your groceries or pay for some senior's medication or whatever, but I will pay for their groceries, like the whole
I
thing.
went to the store the other day and the cashier said, "Oh, I know your wife. You know what? She gave this man. She paid for all his groceries." And I'm just sitting there and she giving the whole lecture to our son, like, "And your mom helped him out and paid all this." And yeah, that sounds like Tessie.
But I think when you do that, you don't need to take the pictures and do the TikTok and take a picture of someone and say, "Look, I gave this man this thing." Yeah, I just think I think you can't outgive God, and when you are giving to other people from an open heart and from a gracious place, that I think you're blessed. And you remember that lady told me that, and it spooked me out. Lady I did not know, and it was so random, so random. But I was walking my dog one day, and this lady walking by me on the sidewalk stopped me, and she said, "I'm sorry, I don't know you, but God told me to tell you, you are blessed to be a blessing to others." And I'm sitting there looking like, okay, thank you. And that has happened to me probably 2 or 3 different times. And every time I tell him, because it spooks me out that I don't know people, like, oh, whatever. But I think it's important to give back and share, regardless of how little you have. It's somebody else that has even less, and it was usually me.
But and I guess, but also along with that though, the give back sometimes starts at home. So I don't want to make it seem like, oh, we're just giving to random strangers. No, sometimes you have to do that giving at home, and sometimes it looks a little bit different. I'm gonna give this to you, so I don't have to move outside of my comfort zone. I don't know the politically correct way to say it, but no, sometimes you have to help those family members so they don't end up on your doorsteps bringing on more than what you can handle. But sometimes it starts at home.
I think another way that I think is very important to give back is just in mentoring and tutoring and giving your time. Sometimes a conversation that you have with someone, a kind word, sharing a book that's moved the needle for you, is the thing that truly moves the needle for someone else. You guys don't see Daryl on the other side of this counter, on the other side of the camera rather. I will have conversations with him. He's young, newly married. Well, no, he's oldly married. He's been married for years. Daryl, how long you been married? 10 years. He's just younger, like a little brother. And so we have a lot of conversations about business and how to grow because he's an entrepreneur and he's a creative and just some tips on how to grow his business as well. And so for me, and you can speak to this for you, when I am talking to younger people, my children age and younger, and mind you, I have a 36-year-old, but I try to give them tips and information that I wish someone had gave me. And so if you're trying to move forward in your life and you're trying to build a career or you're a new parent, just different things that literally was like light bulb moments for me. And there's some of the smallest things. I think sharing that information with people takes a lot of load off of people and or inspire them to move forward. That probably came out real jumbled, but
Well, you're inspirational. You are really inspirational. So,
I'm being serious
I'm
though.
being serious too. I mean, I was when we first met, I was impressed about the start, the middle, the transitioning, and to where you were without rehashing all of it. But I was like, wow, you did a lot. You did a lot with little, whether it was time or where you started from to where you ended up. When it comes to, I guess, the advice that I'll get couples that'll. I think the most common thing that I get asked is working with your spouse. That's more of the advice that I get to give back the most. A lot of it, and it surprisingly, it's almost more women than men that ask me because they're like, I'm trying to get my husband to work. What did she do to get you to? So I will have those conversations with the husband and give him my 2 cents and how things work. But newlywed couples, we get those from time to time that I'll get the husband that asks. But I think the most common question that I'm asked to give back and what my side of it is working with your spouse.
I think the question that I get asked the most is how did you go to law school with kids? How do you run a business with kids? People want to know how I get through the day. How do you do all the things you need to do in the day? And it's just how do I survive? Like a lot of people are still in that survival mode in the sense that they're trying to get stuff to a simple place, an even playing field. And I think a lot of it is just, and I don't always succeed at it, and you know this, trying to simplify things as easy as possible. And I know for women, for moms, a lot of times you have that cape on your back and you're trying to do all the things and you're trying to do all the things perfect and you're trying to go to work and keep the house clean and cook the meals and the kids need to look a certain way and homework and then make time for your husband and make time for your friends and God forbid you want 30 minutes to yourself because then you're being selfish. So you're trying to juggle all of that. And how do you do that? Well, you start by shaving your head so you don't have to. Listen, people think that I promise you, for y'all, for those of who may not know, I literally shave my head as a time saver. And I woke up after having a standing hair appointment every single Saturday for like 8 o'clock, 8:30 in the morning, and I just woke up and said, Charles, will you cut my hair? He's like, are you serious? Yes. Can you please shave my? Either you're gonna cut it or I'm gonna cut it. And I shave my hair so I don't have to do it just because it's convenient.
And still impatient and don't want to sit there for me to cut it. You went from not having to go to the salon. I had to put this 2 cents in. You went from going to the salon and waiting for 2 or 3 hours for the whole process to I get it done in 15 minutes, and you're still rushing me. Are you done yet? Are you done yet?
My hair, in case y'all didn't pick it up, he cuts my hair, and I
Patience is the virtue.
bleach it myself. But I'm saying trying to cut and minimize things so that they run a little smoother. The guilt trip of a mom and a wife trying to work, sometimes it can be heavy. And so my questions are always, how do you do all the things? We have 3 small children, a cat and a dog, and a business and all that stuff. But trying to feel like you need to make a home cooked meal, let it go. You don't need to cook a home cooked meal every day. And even if you do, make enough for it to last 2 or 3 days. Cook on Sunday to last all week. Laundry. I cut dressers when my kids were little. They had their clothes in the totes because it was easier to label them. They put stickers on them. Pajamas. Boop, boop, boop. Who needs to fold pajamas? They're going to be wrinkled anyway. And it was some of those smaller things. I had to choose the battles of what was going to be a priority. Your grades, that was a priority. Your health, that was a priority. Whether you have fresh pots or a frozen Stouffer's lasagna, as opposed to me spending 2 or 3 hours making lasagna, was not my priority. I can pop that frozen lasagna in the microwave or in the oven. And you're shaking your head, no, he's a difficult one to cook for. But when my children, this is how I got through law school. And I made a decision that it was more important for me
To have those quick meals that you can heat up in the microwave. I understand. And if it's that serious for me, I will cook it. So I understand where you're coming from. And in some situations, yeah, we will get the quick pizzas that you just put in the oven and the Red Baron or whatever it is that you like. But no, I prefer a home cooked meal.
one of the things that I did to save time is I literally used every moment with my children as teaching opportunities intentionally. When I pick them up from school, in that car ride, it was flashcards and it was educational songs and it was all those types of things to make sure that I was practicing spelling list and all that stuff there. Like we're brushing our teeth, and everything was done strategically so that they didn't, obviously fail grades or struggle in school. But I was just very intentional about using a trip to the grocery store as an opportunity to talk about colors and shapes, and just bath time was more conversations and story times. You could double up bath time and story time and anything like that to save time. So that's the questions that I was asked about the most and still asked about the most is, how do you do all the things that you do with being married, kids, business, house cleaning, and all of that? And you said that your biggest thing was just how do you work with your spouse? Well,
Yeah, I'm not the one that maps out the day and organizes it. Does that? We'll get it done, but it's not going to be as efficient. I'm a So I'll usually direct everybody to ask you. You're kind, you're smart, and you're
you can
important.
get beat up on camera. I just want you to know. So Merry Christmas from our family to your family.
Merry
We hope you
Christmas.
guys have a wonderful holiday season. Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, Christmas, whatever your family celebrates. Yeah, you always tell people happy birthday for Christmas. So, in any event, hope you guys enjoy some time with your family and have some much needed relaxation and fun. And remember, whatever your reason is for the season, and stay blessed.